Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm just out for a little walk before work and I thought I'd do a bit of an update as to where I am. So this year hasn't been great for me. There's no other way to say it really. So I started 2022 feeling really positive that this was going to be my year, and but it didn't quite turn out like that to date. So for the first 3 weeks of the year I picked up something. Now I don't know what it was. I want to say it was COVID, but I really don't know. And ended up in bed pretty solidly for 3 weeks, at which point I got really down because no longer could I do anything, and I'd stopped all my sport because I wasn't enjoying it. I was so tired, I wasn't enjoying it. So I was kind of like, I'm pushing my body to do something it evidently doesn't want to do. That's not going to help me get better. And obviously at that point I was kind of like, anything I do now is purely driven by my eating disorder. So I was like, nope, we're stopping. So long story short, I got really down in the dumps because all I was doing was spending all my time in bed. And if you're one of those up and about people all the time like me, as you can imagine, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, what is my body doing? What have I done? And anyway, so ultimately I made the decision to go back on my antidepressants. Now it wasn't quite as smooth as one would hope because I decided to take on a different antidepressant, and I decided to try sertraline, at which point I was also taking Nytol to try and help me sleep. So it was a Wednesday evening and I had the world's worst panic attack at 1:30 in the morning, to the extent that I called an ambulance. Now I am not over dramatic normally, and I've had panic attacks before, so I know what they are, but it didn't even cross my mind this was a panic attack. I had pins and needles in my fingers, like my heart rate was beating faster than anything I have ever had before, and it was probably the most terrifying experience of my life. So I decided not to carry on taking the sertraline because at that point I'd made this negative association, and the next day was just dreadful. I felt so anxious and yeah, it wasn't great. So I went and stayed with Kerry for the night, and I managed to get the doctor to give me a prescription for citalopram, which is what I was on before. So I'm on that now. I also made the decision to go back to Southampton to stay with my family for a bit. And I'd been back about a week and they were like, we can see some real positive improvements in you, etc, etc. And then out of nowhere I started to feel even worse, and as you can imagine I was already feeling like, this is my life now. I'm never going to be able to get back to training, I'm never going to be able to get back to like going meeting friends and all of that stuff, and just leading a normal life. Like, it's not just the training for me, it's just having energy to lead a normal life, which is why when people compare it to a physical injury, I'm kind of like, it's not though, because if you break your leg, that doesn't stop you going and getting up in the morning and going and seeing your friends, or do you know what I mean? And then basically from there I got COVID. So just as the days were starting very slowly to get a bit brighter, I picked up COVID, and that's where I am now. So I've just got rid of COVID, and I'm hoping now that slowly I might be able to recoup, because the symptoms that I'm experiencing now, which are very much in line with RED-S and overtraining. So obviously my female hormones are still quite low, probably not as low as they were, but they're still not where they need to be. I can tell my hormones are all over the place because I'm getting a lot of symptoms of that, my face being one. I still have brain fog, like, don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as bad as it was in December, but it's still there and it's still quite intense. I'm still tired most of the time. I'm very fatigued. By about 9 o'clock at night I am out for the count. I'm still not sleeping amazingly well, but it's a lot better than it was. I'm eating a lot. Like, the extreme hunger actually I think has got worse, but the good news is I am almost up 10 kilos on where I was in November, so I'm doing everything I can to get myself into a place where my body can sort itself out. But yeah, so that's kind of the main symptoms I'm experiencing, and it's really hard to remain positive at the moment because obviously I'm living in it and it just doesn't feel like I'm getting back to where I need to be. Perhaps I need to do another recovery board. I don't know. So yeah, being back at mum's has really helped, and I'm just hoping that in a month's time things might be a bit different. I've really had to stop and realign my priorities and my expectations of how this is going to look, because I thought it was going to be like a 2-week thing, off we go, but I think now with COVID chucked in as well, you know, the pretty little ducks. So that's kind of where I am now. I've been back on citalopram over a month. I'm back at work, which is really nice. I'm able to get out for some walks and stuff now, so I'm hoping before long I might be able to start doing some training maybe, but I'm not like pinning my hopes on that because I think that would be silly. And I think this has just shown me that you have to look after your body. You only get one of them, and that is basically it, kind of where I am at the moment. And it's hard, I won't lie, it's really, really hard. But yeah, anyway, if you've got any questions, then feel free to leave them below, and I will catch you next time. Hopefully it won't be as long.